This past E3, we got an exciting announcement and trailer about a Breath of the Wild sequel, but no release date quite yet. This brought up a lot of hype about Breath of the Wild all over again. If you're looking for some new Zelda experiences to settle your cravings, but have long since beat the main story of Breath of the Wild, look no further. Subscribe if this type of content is your cup of tea, and here are 15 things to do after beating the main story in Breath of the Wild. Find the dragons. I think it's been pretty well established that people love dragons. They're just plain cool. Well, as you may or may not know, Breath of the Wild has 3 dragons hidden across Hyrule in various locations. If you find them, you'll be able to unlock yet another shrine using their scales at their respective springs. The 3 dragons in the game are Didnt, Farosh, and Naydra. Naydra can be found at the top of Mount Lanayru. Upon meeting it, you'll have to free it from Calamity Ganon's malice. Didnt has a few locations, but the easiest is at Eldin's Great Skeleton, where it shows up at 9 AM. Finally, Farosh is found at the Lake Hylia at midnight. Finish finding the memories. If you're a major fan of the Zelda games like I am, then the memories are a pivotal part of Breath of the Wild's story and something you shouldn't miss. You'll stumble upon some memories while you play the main campaign, but you'll need to spend a little bit of extra time hunting the rest. Using your Sheikah Slate, you will need to use the photos you have from Zelda to track down the many things that Link has forgotten during his slumber. Scour the game's vast terrain to find each and every one and get yourself fully caught up in all the lore. This also extends to the Champion's Ballad DLC memories and Breath of the Wild's hidden memory. Go to Eventide Island. Eventide Island is pretty easy to miss if you don't exactly know where it is or how to get to it. Defeating the challenges on the island is extremely tricky and best suited for those who want to be challenged. Even the most veteran players have a hard time conquering this island. Once you arrive, Link will lose all his equipment, including armor, weapons, and food. You'll then need to complete 3 tasks, but if you die, you'll have to start all over again. The fastest way to get there is to travel to the Muo Jim Shrine and sail from there. To make your challenges even more difficult, the island is riddled with monsters, including a Hinox. Find the best mounts. Did you know that you can find Link's horse companion Epona in the game? To do so, all you need is the Smash Bros. Link Amiibo connection, but there are also a lot of other cool animals you can find and mount. You might not realize how many different animals there are available to you in the game, but when you finish the main campaign, you'll have tons of time to discover them all. Of course, there's the standard horses, Epona, Ganondorf's horse, a pure white descendant of Zelda's mare, the Lord of the Mountain, and more. Beyond horses, you can also tame deer, bears, and even skeleton horses. Find the Master Sword. Most players will go on a quest to find the Master Sword before they even try to take on Calamity Ganon, but if you decide to beat the boss without it, you should at least go back for it. Obviously, it wouldn't be a true Zelda game if it didn't include the legendary Master Sword. To earn the sword, you'll need to get 13 heart containers. To get heart containers, you'll need to free the divine beasts and trade spirit orbs that you get from shrines. From there, just journey through the Lost Woods until you find the sword in the Korok Forest. Buy a house. The Hyrule housing market isn't looking too good after the events of the Great Calamity, but it's a good time to start thinking about settling down. If you visit Hateno Village, you can actually start your quest towards becoming a Hylian homeowner. Once you're in Hateno Village, you'll see 3 men standing outside an abandoned house. You'll want to talk to the one with the pink headband, Bolson. He's kind of the big cheese. He will then offer to sell you the house for 3,000 rupees and 30 bundles of wood. Once you purchase your new home, you can return to Bolson and hire him to make renovations to your house. After that, you'll be able to hang your bows, shields, and swords on your wall. A completed home will also offer you a place to sleep at any time to fully restore your health. Travel the countryside. Breath of the Wild is arguably one of the most beautiful games to come out of Nintendo in their tenure of making video games. And that's saying something. The open world map is the largest to be featured in a Zelda title. It was actually one of the biggest selling points of the game, to the point where Nintendo coined the term open air to describe the scale of Breath of the Wild. That being said, there is a lot of the world to explore. It's always good to slow down, grab a horse, and try experiencing every corner of Hyrule. The new horse riding mechanic is not only fun, but incredibly efficient to travel during your journey. So be sure to stop by the stable, saddle up, and enjoy the view. Find all the Korok seeds. Now I know what you're thinking, this sounds pretty miserable, and it kind of is. But consider this, searching for the Korok seeds actually acts as an excuse to explore more of the land of Hyrule. By now you've probably uncovered a few Koroks hiding throughout Hyrule. You may have even exchanged some of their seeds for upgraded inventory slots. However, there are a total of 900 Koroks to be found scattered around the map. Pretty daunting, right? Well, don't worry, because it only takes 441 to max out your inventory. Just think about how happy you'll make Hestu with all those Korok seeds. Redesign your wardrobe. Breath of the Wild features a large variety of clothes that offer a bunch of different abilities and styles for Link to explore. However, not every outfit may come in your favorite color, but you can change that. All you have to do to spice up your wardrobe is visit the Kochi Dye Shop, which can be found in Hateno Village. The shop is easy to spot because of the giant multicolored test tubes that can be seen right above the shop. Once inside, you'll want to chat with Sage, who will explain all of your clothes dyeing options. Each project will cost you about 20 rupees and require specific items that correlate to the color you're trying to achieve. Also, don't worry about choosing a color that you're really not fond of because it's easy to just revert to its original color. So have some fun with it. Explore the labyrinths. Breath of the Wild offers a new, exciting dungeon-style challenge in the form of 3 labyrinths located throughout Hyrule. Lomei Labyrinth Island is the first of the bunch that can be found in the Akkala region. In the Hebra region, you can find the North Lomei Labyrinth. And finally, the South Lomei Labyrinth resides somewhere in the Gerudo Desert. Each labyrinth is guarded by guardians, but if you can get past them, you'll find all sorts of cool treasures. If you have the heart containers and the right equipment, charging your way through these dungeons will be plenty worth the trouble. So gear up and good luck. Finish up the shrines. One of the most unique experiences about Breath of the Wild is the addition of the mini dungeons called shrines, each of which features a unique puzzle or challenge. Upon completion, you are rewarded with a spirit orb, which can be offered to Hylia statues in exchange for health or stamina boosts. By the time you finish the main story, you've probably completed at least a handful, but there are a total of 120 shrines to explore in the land of Hyrule. About half of these shrines are accompanied by these things called shrine quests, which when completed will reveal the actual shrine. A lot of these don't have anything else on the inside, dubbed blessing shrines, so you can just go inside and claim your reward. Many of the other shrines will have additional treasure chests inside, so make sure you keep an eye out for them. Hunt down the lionels. Breath of the Wild introduces its audience to a new, incredibly challenging foe, the lionel. There are 4 types of lionels you can encounter in your journey across Hyrule. The most basic is the red mane lionel and the easiest to beat. The blue lionel is the next in line in terms of difficulty, followed by the white lionel and finally the silver lionel. Any lionel you fight will be no easy task, but if you manage to defeat them, you can be rewarded with special lionel monster parts, or their lionel gear, including crushers, swords, bows, and shields. Some of them even carry elemental arrows. Become a master chef. Cooking is another unique mechanic introduced in Breath of the Wild. If you've beaten the main story, you've undoubtedly spent a bunch of time around the fire cooking up some meals. However, there are over 100 different dishes that you can make with a bunch of different effects and combinations. Unfortunately, the game doesn't have a mechanic that lets you track which recipes you've made, so you might want to bust out the old notepad or use it on your phone somehow. If you're looking for something to do, spend a little time in the forest and search for some herbs and ingredients. With a little time and effort, you can actually master all the food combinations Hyrule has to offer. Finish up the side quests. Side quests have always been a part of the main Zelda franchise, but due to Breath of the Wild's massive open world, they play a bigger role that matches even Majora's Mask. With a whopping 76 in total, it's incredibly easy to find yourself spending more time on the side quests than on the main campaign. Side quests can be spotted when you encounter an NPC with a red exclamation next to their text bubble. Make sure you revisit areas you've already been to, as more quests will become available the more you progress through the game. Completing all the side quests will add lots of enriching hours of gameplay to your Breath of the Wild experience. And finally, buy the DLC. Breath of the Wild is already a massive game with hours upon hours of available gameplay. However, if you reach a point where you're craving something more, there are currently 2 expansion packs available for purchase. The first expansion is titled the Master Trials, which adds the Trial of the Sword, Master Quest, the Hero's Path mode, the Travel Medallion, and tons of new armor, including a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 crossover. The second expansion pack, the Champion's Ballad, features the addition of the Champion's Ballad quest, new armor for you and your horse, an all-new dungeon and boss fight, and the Master Cycle Zero, which acts as Link's new motorcycle. Both of these expansions can be purchased for only $19.99. That's all for now. I hope this list will add to your Breath of the Wild arsenal and hold you over until the sequel game releases. Was there anything on the list that you didn't know about? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, and with that, stay tuned for the next one.